Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Get Seen in the Poconos. We are so excited to be back again with you live. We weren't here last week, and we missed you all. We're enjoying the hot summer here in the Poconos, and we hope you are too. Hope everybody's doing good. We seem to be having a little bit of a technical difficulty with Kathy. I think she might have turned her video off, but we're going to be talking today about going green. First, I want to thank our sponsors, brokersrealty.com. If you need to buy, sell, rent, or auction off a piece of property, make sure to check out brokersrealty.com. Sarah Smith-Katz down there in the corner is one of their great realtors. She will help you. Unfortunately, I believe right now inventory is very low, and it is very hard to buy a house because everybody wants to do it all at the same time.
So all in a way, though, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
Unless you're the buyer, but if you're the agent.
But it's very good to get a very well-rounded, experienced agent, and that is Sarah. So we suggest you give her a call if you need anything like that. Hi, Sarah. How you doing?
Hallie, I'm doing well tonight. Prince Harry and I are sitting out here enjoying the beautiful evening air. It's been a really warm day in the Poconos, so it's to have a little bit of a breeze and enjoy the backyard for a little bit. And I want to say hi to Aaliyah because she has joined us with her new background. I love it.
I know. I feel like I'm matching yours. I'm mirroring you. I brought a little bit of the nature in here. Easier to do this than it is to hide my unmentionables, my products and all the things that don't pertain. But I'm glad we're talking about this tonight because the things that I'm hiding behind there and our green backdrops go with tonight's theme. And we're so happy to have Miss Kathy Borey with us. And we're going to talk about going green. And as always, we have a lot to say. Kathy has a lot to say because we just can't not say. But we want to hear from you. So if you're watching, shout out, tell us how you go green, participate, ask questions. Feel free to ask Kathy any questions that she might have, and we're going to get started. So, Kathy, tell us a little bit about crunchy cleaning. I like that.
Yes.
Crunchy cleaning. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and why it's cool to, that song, It's Not Easy. Isn't that Kermit the Frog? It's not easy to be green. Well, in this case, it's going to be. It's very easy. It's very easy.
Yes, thank you. I almost 5 years ago, I started my business, and the term crunchy has a connotation of granola, hippie, eco, organic meaning behind it. So I like the alliteration of crunchy cleaning by Kathy. So when I started my cleaning business, I had already been using eco-friendly green products. So I just incorporated that into a cleaning business, and it's taken off. And I like to share eco-friendly cleaning. Thank you. Yes, I like to share eco-friendly cleaning tips on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page, and educating clients and the
and before you leave here
of
tonight,
living your health.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just saying
a little bit of a delay.
It's okay. I like educating people on the benefits of a healthier lifestyle, and even though sometimes you'll hear people call it alternative, when in reality, vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, baking soda has been around much longer than a lot of.
We're actually we're coming kind of back in full circle to it. Well, Holly and I, Sarah too, because we're all family, but our mother is a granola crunchy girl. So we grew up with, homemade bread, homemade granola, using homemade clothes, the old fashioned cleaning products. Always. Sarah's mother we are a very old school farming farm living kind of background, salt of the earth, make your own stuff, kind of make your own way.
Oh, your own stuff.
I will never forget her mother giving me, I had a very bad wisdom teeth issue in college, and she told me exactly what to do. So it was the old fashioned uncoated aspirin with a little bit of, muslin or whatever you can get in there to kind of chomp down. And I'll never forget that. So this is where we're kind of used to this. And yes, we stray away because it's easier sometimes to get that spray off the counter when you're at the big box store, or maybe you can't get a stain out. And sometimes we forget that we do have most of these products in our, most households have baking soda, essential oil of some sort now, lemons or lemon juice, or, vinegars and things like that, which I love to use vinegar, especially I still use it in my washing machine to clean out the washing machine. And yeah.
A lot
And a lot of them
sunshine.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Outdoors is a lot of sunshine and a drying, what do you call that? A clothesline. Do wonders.
I mean,
so I know what you're saying though, where people think that that's alternative, where really I think, like you said, it's kind of like taking it back to what our great grandparents, the people became before us, are doing it. It's not really full circle. They're just slapping a label on it. Now a company can slap, a fancy label on it or put it on a big box store or on a website. And it's like, ooh, it's all wonderful and eco-friendly, when really we can kind of mix those things together at home, really. And that's basically ridding your house of chemicals, So tell us, if you were cleaning your kitchen, let's just pick the kitchen, because I think the kitchen's probably, or the bathroom and the kitchen are probably the most cleaning intensive. So take us through what that looks like in your house, or what you would suggest to somebody if you were turning green or going green in the home in terms of replacing of chemicals. What are your staples, and how would you go about telling somebody to do that?
Definitely white distilled vinegar is fantastic for grease buildup in an oven, grease for soap buildup in a shower, in a bathroom shower. That is a go-to. I have recipes for, they call it Doniger, Blue Dawn and vinegar and water. I like using, so I call it Thievesiger if I mix the thieves cleaner with vinegar and water. Both because they're great at cutting soap, cutting grease. They also help with the scent of the vinegar. So I have tips about how to scrub off the hard water on glass shower doors and for ovens. So vinegar is definitely a must. The key though with vinegar is it is acidic. So you cannot and should not use it on natural stone like marble, quartz, granite, or wood. And I know people have done it where they'll mop floors with vinegar diluted with water. Me personally, I don't want to chance it. You can use hot soap to mop your kitchen floors, a little bit of rubbing alcohol in it, thieves cleaner, predominantly more soapy solution. If you could do a soapy solution.
I know you were calling it Doniger. How do you feel about Dawn? Because I use a lot of Dawn detergent, like if I'm doing my whites in my washing machine. And my mother always taught me to add a little bit of Dawn because it brightens the whites. How do you feel in terms of all the things that we have in terms of soaps out there that are on the market? Do you feel like Dawn is kind of like your go-to, or is it something you recommend?
It's not my most favorite eco soap, but for whatever scientific reason, which obviously they don't give away their, proprietary recipes for it, but the Blue Dawn specifically is fantastic at grease cutting. If you remember the Exxon Valdez spill in the was it the 90s, they actually used the Blue Dawn to cut off the oil off of the duck's feathers.
Yes, I love that commercial. I love that commercial. It's so sad to see, but if it can get it off of animals, it can get it off our pots, right?
For whatever recipe they for that, it's fantastic for grease cutting. So it's not my favorite when it comes to that dish soap, but I only use it for that Doniger recipe for soap buildup. So I know that there's other soaps out there, other dish soaps you can use. I've tried others, but I just find that the Blue Dawn recipe works the best for really hard water buildup on glass.
Yes, and most of us have hard water. It builds up on whites and clothes, on your shower curtain, on your shower curtain liners. And I have a white shower curtain of all things, which I don't understand why I do that, but it's the easiest to clean, I guess, if you're going to do that. So that would be in a bathroom. So you said green cleaning, homemade products, white vinegar, baking soda. How would one, because baking soda is like, Dawn, you can find vinegar, you can find in every big box store online. What about baking soda? What is it about baking soda? Even though we know it's from the earth, it's a naturally derived substance. What is it about baking soda in a kitchen situation or in a bathroom situation? What do you mix that with? And There we go. Big jar. I buy the big, I use so much baking soda that I buy, you can actually buy the big bags, like at the big box stores. Yeah.
This is actually that I made. It's starting to go low, so it's kind of getting all gloppy looking. But it's a paste that I make with vinegar, and I add thieves cleaner in it as well, and essential oils and some water, and I make it what would be like a commercial, like a soft scrub type of paste.
The Comet, yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic thing with baking soda is that it's not toxic where the Ajax powder would be, but it gives you the scrubbing power of it, the same scrubbing texture of so you can make and I have a recipe for that as well on my YouTube channel, where you can make it with vinegar, water. I like to add thieves cleaner just for extra scent and more antibacterial powers, and essential oils just for more scent as well. And you can make a scrubbing paste and then just put it in a jar, repurpose a, tomato sauce jar, or, if you have mason jars, and just put it in here. Kind of a little clumpy now, because like I said, it's kind of getting at its last batch, but I could just put a little bit more water in it, dump it out, put in a scrub brush, and just scrub the bottom of my sink or bathtub.
Right.
So it makes,
I'm going to try that. I like that. I like that idea. I usually use Barkeeper's Friend. I have a stainless steel
Bonami another one, which gets a higher green rating on the environmental working group, the EWG site. I think Bonami gets either an A or B, where Barkeepers gets like a D. So if you're
okay, good to know. So I have to switch it. Okay, I have to switch it. So isn't it funny, Sarah? We kind of grew up with the mason jars, and then a couple years ago with all the hipsters, they were drinking out of like jars, reusing those jars. We've been doing that for a million years. I think I've been doing that my whole life, learning that from my mom and family.
All the things that I use baking soda for, and I actually used it today because I was stung by a bee. And if you have a paste of baking soda and water and put it on the site, the sting site, it pulls all that venom out of.
Absolutely. Mom used that on me when I had really bad poison ivy. They were burning it, because they were clearing, and I was about 12 years old, and I literally got it from head to toe all over my body. And she made a paste.
Yep.
And I literally laid there on a white sheet with it. But I'll tell you what, it is, again, we forget that we have these wonderful baking soda, vinegar, water, that old fashioned thing called water, lemon, essential oils, all those things, right?
Is pimples.
Great.
If you have pimples or acne, if you make a paste and put it on, it draws out.
Oh, I did not know that.
My dog, I remember a prom and pimple on the nose the night before, devastated, put on
a devastating pimple. Well, with the face mask, I just shared an article on my private page this morning about, ladies in a certain age group, you'll know what I'm talking about the cystic hormonal acne. We all get it here. And then on top of it, now we have to wear the face masks, right? Yep. So that's a good all natural remedy for our listeners to
baking soda and water,
and make a paste
and put it on. Let it, and actually you can go to sleep that way, put it on before you go to bed, don't have a good pillowcase on. And the next morning you are going to be amazed the difference in your face.
I think we could write a book about all the things you can do with baking soda, because it's good for your gut. It's good for,
and definitely we'll share Kathy's, her YouTube channels and all of her things so people can get the recipes. Sarah, share with everybody, what do you do in your household to be green?
What do I actually recycle a lot of things. Like you said, the mason jars. My mother was, people that use, if you use, I call it tin foil, but aluminum foil, I never throw it away. I always will wash it and reuse it, because
I never knew that, Sarah.
It does really go.
Wow, you're the aluminum foil washing lady. I did not know that. Now, if I pull too much off,
right,
and I didn't use it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't need that much, and I kind of cut it, I'll fold it and put it in the drawer and be like, because my son, I have a 6-year-old, Kathy, and he likes to play. You know how kids are; they like to play with all kinds of unusual things. You buy him $1,000 worth of toys, and what do they want? The tube to the toilet paper and aluminum foil and tape. So, or he'll do little craft things with it or whatever. But I never knew that you clean the aluminum foil.
Yep.
I never knew that.
Clean when I, if I'm going somewhere, ever, but just for my own personal use, that's what I do, because it seems like such a shame if it's only got a little spot on it and you've used it to cover something, wash it, fold it back up, and you can reuse it at least once.
I mean, we come from people that made their own laundry detergent.
Yeah.
I mean, we come from
and you can add baking soda into laundry detergent as well.
You can. I think Leah's trying to say that we come from people who had very limited resources and did a lot with what they had. Like
as did the generations before us do. They were very hardy. We come from a lot of hardy women that were resourceful, and maybe at times.
The Depression. My mother was, lived through the Depression. So I was raised that you saved anything that you could.
You can.
That because, you never knew when you were going to be able to find it again.
Too.
Going into that again now, where you can't find the things that you're used to buying on the shelf. So you have to start thinking about, how can I be resourceful?
Right.
And things like, my mother used to tear up, when clothes got a hole in it or whatever, she would tear up the clothes, use the cloths, or, whatever it might be, rather than.
I use it for rags. When Jeff's t-shirts wear out, my husband, his t-shirts wear out, I'll cut them and I use them for cleaning rags. Now, after I use them, depending on the job, I might not throw them in the washer and wash them, but I have used them. And then I also will take, if I have a cool shirt with a cool print and it just doesn't fit, I'm not going to donate it. It has holes, it's worn. Maybe there's some pitch strands or something going on, but there's like a good trim. I'll cut the trim off or some of the fabric, and I make, when I am crafty or have time to be crafty, I make fabric wreaths and cute little swags, like rag swags, but I use any fabric. I'll use his old jeans. Like if they wear out in the knee, I wash them, I launder them, and then I'll tear them up. I've done projects for my son. So that's another way too. If you're shopping thrift, if you're going to secondhand, we have some great ones in the area. If you're shopping thrift or your Salvation Army, you're already kind of doing a green thing. Mm-hmm. You're not maybe aware, but maybe you have to pay for it. You're not giving it. We give it to family members. There's many times where I'll pass on a shirt to Holly.
Many of Holly was Leah's.
Because the worst thing that could possibly happen is that it ends up in a landfill. So it's like, you want to, if you can, rip up the if it's a cool fabric. I'm sorry, Holly, if it's a cool fabric, or if I don't think that you'll like it, if it's not her style, I kind of know her. I know how she rolls. Mm-hmm. So if she's not going to use it, or if it's something that's so beat up that I would not even give it to her, I'm going to go ahead and use it as a cool thing. If there's a cool button, I'll take the buttons off and reuse them for another project, or a trim, like a rick rack or rick rack, whatever they call it. I'll take that off. So that's where we kind of come from. And I think at some point, I don't know when, society or we kind of got a little gluttonous or a little excessive. And I love excess too. I love it. I love to shop. I love to buy. I love to do all this. I think we got lazy a little bit, not even being aware, of just going to the big box store and pulling whatever cleaner or whatever. And then also not being aware that it can make us sick. That's the other that we've been kind of systematically. We were just talking about, we were all together, Kathy, at a family picnic on Saturday night. And we were talking about reusing the Chinese food containers, the plastic containers over and over and over again. Because I was cleaning out my Tupperware lids. And it was about constantly just years that there's people that reuse that country crock container, and you think it's doing a great thing, but maybe it's not so healthy, with Alzheimer's and different things. So we have to kind of do our research, find out maybe glass is better than using the country crock. I mean, I would love to switch to all glass storage, that might be.
I actually have done that because I cannot stand any kind of red sauce or saucy thing that you put into a plastic Tupperware container, and it gets that filmy thing that goes on that never gets clean?
That orange
Vinegar, spray it
What
with
up?
happened.
Spray it with vinegar.
I've tried every home
Well,
remedy
you know what?
to
After
get
a
that.
while, plastic is porous. Plastic is going to take on, and then the food and bacteria get stuck in there. So even if you put it in the dishwasher, you know, like that old put the sponge in the dishwasher thing, which kind of freaks me out a little bit, even though the dishwasher is cleaning, you know, so you have to do kind of like, we always do on this show, kind of, we meet everybody kind of where they're at, like what they're comfortable with, you know, what their level is. Some people are like, I'm never going to do glass storage because I'll break it, ship it. And we've all broken them. You know, we go to the big box or we buy it on Amazon and we love it. That has the great lids. Everything looks great. And the next thing you know, it explodes in the microwave or the kid takes out of the dishwasher.
You know what? Cover if you have like an aluminum container or a glass container. There's companies that make beeswax, like a beeswax.
Yes.
And it and on. Actually, I think I have one. I have to
Conforms to whatever you can shape it.
Yes,
right.
Kind of put it around. Actually, I have a picture on my Crunchy cleaning page that I took a few weeks ago. I'll send you the picture, and it sticks to the glass or the aluminum. So if let's say you made a thing of lasagna and it's already in a glass container,
you can just put that around. Yeah,
I don't know how long they come in, but you would just put that directly on it. And
I have seen them at Etsy, on Etsy stores and on Amazon. And since we're talking about that, I have with me, I work for a lovely company called Arbonne. And of course, we're very sustainable, recycled ink packaging and all that kind of stuff. And they came out with these little slidey zip things. And I just love these. So in not every instance, but in an instance with, I haven't quite figured out the wet of cleaning this out and being safe. You know, obviously you can put it in the dishwasher, but we do a lot of dry snacks in these. So if we're going to go to Camel Beach for the day, we'll put our pretzels in these and they're easy to shake out, rinse out, put on the top, and they're a heavy gauge plastic. They're not, you know, I don't feel like it's going to rip. I can throw it in my beach bag or throw it in my purse even. And I've used these for all different kinds of things. So that's, and you don't have to get an Arbonne one. I think this is a special one that they gave to us, but I've seen these in Target and other big box stores and you can get them in a pack in different sizes. This just happens to be one size. So this is another way, because guess what? Sandwich bags are not recyclable. No. So at least they're not now, you know, maybe they will be, maybe they'll figure it out. So that goes to a landfill. So every time nobody's perfect and we're all going to use plastic wrap, and we live in the real world. We have children, we have family. We're running around, we're trying to be convenient, but you know, at any time that you can do this, even if it's just for your lunchtime snack to work, is a win, you know. Or like I love a straw. I'm never going to not be a straw girl. I'm a straw girl. So I don't want to buy tons of straw and I don't want them to. So I use a reusable straw. You can clean this. It comes with its own cleaner. I choose to get it with a little cap because I don't want to stab myself in the eye. This is not a weapon, you know, use as a weapon. Well, if you wanted to or had to. So this is another way, you know, and that I reuse my straw, and I can take this with me. I have a couple of them. And then I also have a collapsible one that if I was ever to go, and I don't have that with me, it's actually collapsible in a little case. It's so cute. I'll take a picture of it and put it on. But it's like if you're a camper or a person that goes on a bike, or if you travel a lot, you can put that in your little carry-on or whatever. So those are two. So we have reuse the aluminum foil. Try to use a reusable snack bag. I like the beeswax idea. Switch to glass if you can. So you're not, number one, reusing plastic over and over and over again. We throw out those Chinese food containers. You know, I think it's a noble, don't you think, Sarah? We're trying to be noble and we're trying to be
conscious,
good stewards by using your Chinese container over and over again. Or with what happened before the COVID is people were using reusable shopping bags. You feel good. You're going to Aldi or to ShopRite. You have your bags. I mean, I used to I have them in my car. You feel good. You know, you're doing the right thing, but they also harbor a lot of germs.
And they're better. The plastic rips apart.
And so what do you think, Kathy? How would you, if people still, I know there's a lot of stores that ban them now because of COVID, but how would you suggest you clean them? What would be what would you do? How would you go about that? Put them in the washing machine?
I just put them in the washing machine.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, I thought I had, like for example, for my cleaning business with my cleaning cloths, wet bags. Now these are wet bags. Like, I don't know if you ever cloth diapered. I cloth diapered my second son. So this is traditionally something that it has I think it's called a PVC lining inside. So it's
Oh,
a water.
sure. Like for swimsuits.
Yes. Yeah. Put like the wet diaper or wet clothes or wet, for swimsuits. So what I do is when I'm cleaning, when I have my mop pad and it's wet and it's dirty, instead of how am I going to bring it home? I'm not going to put it in a shopping bag because then it gets all yucky and wet.
Right.
So I put it in the wet bag, and then when I get home, everything gets dumped into the washing machine.
I love that. I love that tip.
You can get them on Amazon. So one of these type of things, or like even the reusable shopping bags, if they're cloth, you could just either hand wash them with hot soapy water and air dry them, or throw them in your washing machine.
You can also, if you wipe them down on the inside, like if I buy meat, for example, if I buy chicken, I use a throwaway plastic bag for the chicken, because you don't want to put that in a cloth bag of any kind, because it's and then you go to use it again, not thinking, and then now you've spread the germs. Right. So when they do come back to and I'm sure we'll kind of circle back until they figure out a way to make the plastic bags. Now in our house, we have a kitty cat, like all of us do on this panel. So what we do is when we get the Target bag or another shopping bag, we actually clean the the cat pan. So we recycle. So, in a way, even though you're using a plastic bag, we're okay with kind of bringing them home because we know we're going to use them again. Right. So, there's always something, I'm sure that everybody on this panel, as a matter of fact, or everybody on the audience, which hello to everybody. If you have something that you do, hi, Sandy. Hi, Joan. Nice to see you here. If you have something you do to keep green in your household, whether it be cleaning, using a reusable straw, maybe you use the beeswax, let us know. If there's something that we haven't mentioned, maybe there's something that you could tell us that you're doing, because we can't just do all the talking. We want to hear what you have to say about it. I know, Sarah, you do a lot of grocery shopping. What have you been doing? Have you been where you go? Do you take the cloth bag? Do you do the plastic? What do you do?
I take my own bags with me, and they're cloth. Because I figure I don't like touching the shopping carts. So I take a bag, and what I can carry is what I bring home.
That's smart. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, I have a couple of my go-to things. I work full-time in an office. So you kind of fall into some traps sometimes with that. You wind up grabbing your coffee on the way to work, or you go to the coffee maker in the office, and you're either getting a styrofoam cup or a paper cup or something like that. So of course I have my stainless steel cup that's insulated.
I love it.
This stinker can keep things cold all day long at the beach. So
cold or hot, right? Cold or hot.
Cold or hot. So
hot.
I can't say enough about a good insulated tumbler. I have one that's twice the size of this, actually, that I take to the beach, and I can fill it with ice water, and the ice stays ice for like half the day.
Well, that's the thing too. Some people fall into that bottled water thing. We don't understand that because we grew up with a well. So
we all have to come to terms, and I know this might be politically incorrect and people don't want to hear it, but bottled water as an industry they're selling you a plastic bottle. They're not selling you the water.
So, I mean, in some instances, listen, if you're at the beach, if you don't have your reusable cup, and again, we meet people where they are, you obviously, Holly going to work every day. I know my sister, she packs a suitcase to go to work every day.
I do.
A water bottle, her snacks, her lunch, her whatever.
My cold drink,
your Arbonne bottle, which is sustainable in its own, sustainable in its own way. So
my husband loves to buy things from Asia too. He's a big fan of Japan and Japanese products, which are really sometimes very cool. Japan is one of our allies, so it's a great thing to support them too. But he got me this a couple of years ago for Christmas. I had to get up and get it. It's a little pouch, and it has in it your silverware set, so that wherever you are, you have silverware. And it's really cool. So it's your average, fork, spoon, and knife, but you get a metal pair of chopsticks.
Woo!
So
you always have your chopsticks.
So you don't have to have wooden chopsticks that you throw away. I have permanent chopsticks that I can use all the time, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Ones too.
So we all do those little things. I think we're all trying to be good stewards of the earth, whether we're intentionally recycling. I mean, a lot of garbage companies, especially here, in our area in the Poconos or the Northeast, you could actually do the garbage with the recycling. So in your home, you know, you're looking at the labels, and we get by row. We know that cans and bottles and water bottles and soda bottles and things like that are, and just look like at the bottom or on the side, like you can't really see it on this one, but most beauty products, whatever, have the label on there. They'll tell you what the one is, or a 5 is the cap recyclable, is the bottle recyclable. So because I've been with Arbonne now for 2 years, and they always have the greatest information on there, like I'm learning like what a 5 is, what a 1 is. Is it a 3? Is it a store drop off? You know, is it a store drop off, like a bread wrapper? You know, sometimes the outer shell is recyclable, but the inner shell is not, or the outer shell is, you know, so you kind of like start to really look and see what the different levels of recyclable are. Do you have a store drop off? Like at our local Target, they have all the bins. You can recycle batteries, you can recycle bread, but you know, if it's a store drop off, you could take it there. So if you are kind of like, I don't have a recycling program that comes to my house, or I don't know if this thing is, you know, this isn't a 1 or 2 or a 3, it's a store drop off. Check out your local area and see who has store drop off. It's that one extra thing. And I go to Target anyway, so it's not that big of a stretch for me to put a couple of things aside, you know, in the bread bag that is a store drop off, or in the Amazon wrapper, the big white Amazon packages, those are store drop off. It's not
the best. They'll recycle the Amazon bag.
They'll recycle the white. They're like the white with the blue ink. It says store drop off.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, again, we're meeting people kind of where they're at, what they're comfortable with. Some people can't drive over to Target. They don't have a place to stick, you know, a pile of stuff for a store drop off, you know, but and they don't have access maybe to a recycling permit. If you go into the store and look to your left over where the bathrooms are, it's against the wall where the photo place used to be, where the photo drop used to be.
Oh,
There's bins. Yeah, there's bins and stuff like that for
you're moving behind you.
This is my 6-year-old son, Leo. He wants to hear about going green.
Well, I also just want to add that we also have, usually we have really good intentions when we want to recycle, and we might get a little bit overboard. You know, those plastic grocery store bags we were talking about before are definitely not recyclable in a regular recycling manner. If you put them in with your recycling, it causes all kinds of damage to the machinery that they use to sort recyclable. So if you're not taking it back to the store and putting it in the special bin for garbage bags, the only other place to put it is the landfill. Hate to say it, but don't put it in the recycling, because all you're going to do is gum up the things that they use to separate all the other recycling, and it causes a lot of problems. The other thing I learned, 2 other things that I really didn't know researching this show. Number 1, you shouldn't buy body products that have microbeads in them. Microbeads are little pieces of plastic that people put into beauty products, scrubs, rubs.
Unless there are, unless they're naturally derived.
Unless they're naturally derived.
Like if it's apricots and things like the apricot shells and nut shells.
If it's a natural thing, it's completely different. There are a lot of cheaper products that use actual plastic. And the plastic, once you've used it on your skin, gets washed down your drain and goes out to the sewer plant, and the sewer plant can't capture those minuscule pieces of plastic, and that actually winds up out into the water supply, and you're putting plastic into the water supply, which I think is pretty horrible.
That's a good segue into reminding people to be conscious. And another way to be a good steward of the earth is to be a good steward of your body, and to be conscious of what you're putting on your body. You know, everything has a label. If it doesn't have a label, don't use it.
Don't use it.
Most things have, and even if you're buying it online, most sites have the ingredients list before you even buy it. So, you know, look and see, do they have, is there plastic, and is there something you can't pronounce? And if there is, look it up. But, you know, I'm not saying go with Arbonne, but I'm saying if you're going to buy a product, remember that everything that we're putting on our body, eventually, Holly said, goes into the water supply. Don't throw your medication, your old pills down into that contaminates the water supply. You know, it's just as important, the chemicals that we're using to wash the sink. And then if you're washing the sink with Kathy's wonderful magic potion of baking soda and lemons, and it's delicious and it's great and it's healthy for you and you're not getting chemicals, and then you're throwing your extra medication down the drain, you kind of just canceled that puppy out. So, you know, it's you gotta kind of think logic, right, Sarah?
Kathy about what she would suggest we put in our dishwasher to wash our dishes with, because a lot of what, you know, you can buy on the shelves, it has so much chemical in it. And, you know, I'm sure there's residue that sticks to the dishes and we're ingesting that.
I honestly don't even use my dishwasher. I use it for storage, so I wouldn't even know. But I know that there's a couple brands. The one brand that I like the most for store bought is 7th Generation.
Okay.
So you look at their dishwasher and just see what the ingredients are. And I've seen some DIY recipes using vinegar as well. So maybe a DIY recipe, but I don't know personally because I honestly don't even. I like washing dishes by hand.
I actually got a new dishwasher a couple years ago, and we specifically got a dishwasher. It actually uses less water to wash dishes than if you hand wash them.
Wow.
So as long as you have 8 dishes in there, you're going to use less water running the dishwasher than to wash those 8 dishes.
And Holly has a good point too. Like all these appliances come with that sticker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, look at the energy efficientness of the appliances you're buying. Like we just had to buy our air conditioner. I'm ashamed to say, because, you know, you want to be thrifty, but at the same time, are you really being that thrifty with the electric bill? You know, you kind of have to weigh that. I had an air conditioner that I had bought from my last apartment that was, you know, 15 years ago or 10 years ago, and then brought it here. And of course we want to use things because we're old school. You use it to liberate, but sometimes it's not the most efficient thing, or for your electric bill, it's pulling a lot of electricity. So we got a new air conditioner this year, and it actually is more energy efficient. So when you look at a sticker on it's the energy guide sticker on every appliance that you buy, like Holly's dishwasher, the refrigerator, I swear to God, we replace every appliance in our house, because when one goes, you know, the other one goes. So it's actually, even though you're putting more money up front, look at what your electricity costs per, I think, what is it, kilowatt or whatever the electricity. I'm not that smart. I don't know what that means, but you know, you can see kind of, it's just like when you buy a car, fuel efficiency, there's the same thing for your appliances. So that's another way. And I'm sure most of the people that are on our audience, these are all things that are doable. They're all things that are, if you're buying the appliance anyway, try to be as efficient. Electricity, and that's on our thing too, energy efficiency. What are some tips that you have, Kathy? What do you do in your house? We know you don't run a dishwasher, but so what are some of the things, you know, what are some of the things, like if you have an air conditioner, maybe you turn it off at a certain time. Maybe, is it more energy efficient? My husband, we have this argument all the time that it's more energy efficient to keep it on than it is to turn it off and have the cycled. I understand. I sort of get the logic. I think I just like to argue with him about it because I want it to be a certain way, but it's a control issue. So what do you do to be more energy efficient in your house?
I definitely get on my kids' case about turning the lights off if you're not in the room. Lights are a big thing for me, to not have the lights on all the time. In the wintertime, we do that game where I like to do that game. Let's see how cold the house can be before we actually turn the heat on. You know,
I definitely do that. I wait to see how long into the winter I can get before I actually turn the heat on in the house.
Before you turn the air conditioning on.
I go as far as I could go.
Yeah.
You can't stand it anymore. It's, you know, add layers, put layers on, get some socks.
What can be unplugged? Sort of what can be unplugged? What
I
constantly be plugged in.
Yeah, I try to be very, what do we have on that we don't need right now? Do we need the TV and the radio and 5 lights on, and do we need all this stuff on right now at the moment, or can we just watch the TV with the lights dimmed or off?
Especially now, because everybody's home. You know, we were going through that phase where everybody was home, all the computers were on, all the devices are on, everybody's Zooming, everybody's yakking their traps and talking to their long lost cousin because they're crazy, you know, bored and all this or whatever's going on. So it's like, I feel like we're probably using more
Yes.
right now in the last like what 4 or 5 months, probably that we've ever used before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is they're
Or
leaving
things that you need to have
in
all-
their charging devices in without being hooked up. They are still using electricity. So
Yes.
make sure that you unplug your charging devices
Right.
once charging your phone, charging your computer, because you are still using electricity that's plugged into the wall.
Everything that has a little light on it, like an indicator light, that's
Yeah.
using it all the time if there's an indicator light. I learned something else that I don't know if you guys know. Now, everybody tries to be really good. I'm going back to recycling because everybody tries to be really good about it. Did you know that if you get a pizza box, it's not recycled?
I didn't know that.
It's
I
stained
did
or
know that.
grease.
Yeah,
It's
I
The
did know that.
grease
Yeah,
makes it unable to be recycled. So that actually should go into your
That's
regular
universal too. That's not by region. So if you aren't recycling now because number one, you've not gotten started. Number two, maybe there's not a program attached. Like our garbage company, Waste Management, has a recycling can that they give you. So we're automatically, and I'm rinsing out my jars. I'm taking my labels off. I'm really like, I'll let the things drain. I put the mayonnaise, I put the jar lid. If I'm not reusing the jar, like a mayonnaise plastic jar, like I'll put, like, I'm very fastidious about it. Check out your local recycling program and see what their rules are. You know, what do they take, what they don't take, but universally a pizza box or anything that's
any takeout
cardboard.
food container that's cardboard that gets soaked in any kind of grease. So
is not right. Exactly.
can't be recycled.
So
also talk about the recycling. Recycling is wonderful, but I also think we should also look at not having as much in the
to
sense
recycle.
where, for example, my cereal. So I was thinking about this the other day. When I buy the cereal box, I take the bag out and then I put the cardboard in the recycling, or I let them color it and cut it up and use it as a craft or whatever. But I think to myself, well, that's a piece of cardboard that had to be made for the cereal that is now going to be recycled.
Mhm.
I'm hoping it's going to be.
Right.
But then if you look at, there's a more brand cereal that tastes the same, and it's in one big bag of plastic, as opposed to plastic and a cardboard box.
Exactly.
So now
Exactly.
last bag. Now I only have one plastic bag to recycle, as opposed to a plastic bag and cardboard. So like, there's certain ways.
And you know,
that
too, I learned this a couple years ago. I was reading, it was an article, I think, or it was maybe something online, is that we make choices when we make a choice, when we pass that grocery item or that cleaning item over the beeper, you know, the thing that beeps, a scanner, that those things get recorded, not just for the inventory purposes of the grocery store or for their inventory or to reorder. You're making a choice and they're recording those choices that people are made. The more of the demand, the more the supply, in most cases, maybe not right now because of the COVID or whatever, maybe certain things are harder to get. But in a general sense, when we're passing over, I'm just going to pick a laden, let's say a heavily packaged, chemically laden product or fortified product or over processed product.
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts.
They come in a box and then aluminum foil individually, and they're made completely of chemicals. Pop-Tarts.
Right. So, well, I wasn't going to name a name, but if you're making a choice, and then they're also recording when you're making that 7th generation choice, that baking soda choice, or that Dawn choice, or the Arbonne, maybe Arbonne's not being scanned, or another company that, Melaleuca is not being scanned, or whoever it is that's doing, their good stores of the earth and doing all those things. Those things are all being recorded as consumer, what is being consumed. So the more, like Kathy said, if you pick that cereal bag that has less packaging in, and more people start to do that, or they start making their own granola, the more and more people start doing that, buying less cereal, or maybe they're buying a cereal that there's certain places that you can shop where they have less chemicals in them. They don't have the weed killers and different things. You're making a better choice. Those things so as consumers, as we're more conscious of what we're putting over that belt, that's not just for their inventory purposes. We're making a choice. We're making like 5,000 choices a day. What we use to clean, what we use to eat, what we use to put on our face, the makeup, the body products, what we put our stuff in. Are we buying a plastic straw? Are we buying a recycled straw? All those. And the more we buy, the more it'll be available and not so old school, or it'll be more mainstream as you notice more gluten-free products, more organic products. When we were growing up, Holly, you had to go to the health food store. You had to go to a
To a
specialty.
special store to get it.
Right.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
now I think it's Aldi and different stores. Most of them are no food coloring, no artificial sweeteners, no, so we think of being a good steward, Kathy, right? With the cleaning products and the this and the other thing, but it's also the food we eat and the beauty products and all that other kind of stuff.
Well, talking about the food we eat, I got to say that this is one of my biggest pet peeves, and I don't know how you ladies manage it, because I feel like it's always a challenge. Buying food and using all the food. I personally cannot stand food waste, and I try to be pretty like on the ball with where I am with something like that it's gonna go bad, so we're gonna use it more at this time period, or I'm gonna freeze it so that I can use it. But then you kind of get in this bad cycle where there's jars in the back of your pantry that you forget about, and they're there so long that you wind up taking them out, and then they're expired, and then you're throwing away the full can that you never opened up. Or my favorite, the avocado that you never know when it's going to be ripe. And that's usually Wednesday at 3 a.m. and you missed the 5 minutes that the avocado was ripe, so you wind up throwing your avocado out. Or just fresh vegetables and fruit is the hardest thing to kind of manage, especially I have a small family. There's only 3 of us. And we get into kicks where people want stuff, but then they don't eat all of it. Leah was talking about bananas at a party.
Just went away my bananas because they're green one day and the next day when you peel it, it's black on the inside.
So. Yeah, when it's humid out, my suggestion and what works for me is to try to put them like your avocados to prolong the life. They don't break down, or your bananas, keep them in the refrigerator. Basically keep them in a cool place.
I swear, my last avocado that I bought, it was ripe last night at 4 a.m. and
it was ripe. There was a window of ripeness. There's nothing worse than throwing. So my suggestion for that, as a chef and as a mom and as a human being, that hates to throw food away too, is just to shop your pantry, shop your closet. We forget that we have that box, those things. Because I don't care how nutty granola and healthy and wonderful you are, somebody has a jar of pesto or a box of, falafel mix or whatever that's store-bought in their thing, and it's pesto. Always try when you're making your list to shop your cupboards. Shop those dark recesses of the back of the pantry.
Your freezer, because meat does not last forever.
No, it does not last forever. And it's really sucking up a lot of energy to keep that, keep that cold. And, if we're going to eat meat, which I'm not going to tell anybody not to do that. I will never tell people what to eat, what to do, but there's a way to do it that is healthful, energy efficient. Shop your freezer, shop your closet, shop your closet, shop your pantry, shop your cupboards, because you might have a whole meal. You might have the makings of a whole wonderful meal, and it's budget friendly. And maybe you don't have to go out to the grocery store and get in line and wear a mask and go through all that kind of stuff. So what you could also do with that banana skin, it can be used for a lot of things.
You could freeze the banana and the avocado and use it for a smoothie later too, if you see that.
Yes, you could.
Kathy's got that one right. Yeah,
I do that too. Like if you buy a thing of strawberries and you only let's say your kid, my son who you just met, Leo, will say, "Mommy, I want strawberries," or whatever they want. They end up eating teal. I don't like strawberries. And then your husband's allergic to them, so he's not going to eat them. And I like them, but I don't love them, and I don't want to eat them. I'm not going to eat them. I don't I'm not going to binge eat a thing of strawberries. It's just not going to happen. So again, clean them, cut them, put them in the freezer, use them for frozen fruit is awesome because you can use it for so many different things. But that banana peel and the coffee grinds, who here composts? I want to do it. I really do. Kathy, do you compost? And if so,
no,
you don't. Oh no. Does anybody compost? If anybody is on this feed here and you're watching, you tell us.
I gotta say, back in the day, my grandmother,
yes, she did.
She actually did it. What she did, and she did it like in her mini way. She didn't do it like where she had this big ordeal going on,
right?
Because again, she lived through the Depression, so when she cooked, it was very minimal size, and it was enough to feed the family, and there wasn't much left over. So she had really, it might be eggshells, it might be coffee
grind,
it might be the trimmings off of something like the
orange or something.
Yeah, the rind of something, and she kept it in a coffee tin under the sink.
She did.
And she kept it all in there, and that coffee tin actually acted as the compost, and she'd take it out and dump it into the woods.
So she was green. I mean, the woman was also eating veg all out of a can. We won't go there.
Can't go there, but she was composting.
She rinsed out that can, and man, oh man. She actually had a can pantry because, again, when you lived through the Depression, you had canned goods. And as Sarah's mom, Aunt June, had, she used to do a lot of canning. So the canning cupboard or the cold cellar would consist of, canned peaches, pickles, cherry filling, pie filling, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So if you can't finish, if you don't think, and you could also feed the animals. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have, we give a lot of the almost rotten fruit, not rotten fruit, but the leftover that we know that we're not going to eat. We're not going to freeze it for a smoothie. We give it to the deer. We give it to the rabbits. And I mean, some people don't like to do that because they don't like to attract them onto their property for whatever reason. But if you have a garden, right, Sarah? If you have a garden, the coffee grinds and eggshells, they're like.
But the coffee grounds, my flower beds.
You do?
Yeah. Yep.
How often do you do that? So do you save them do you put them in a pot like every day when you knock out your coffee grinds, or how do you do it?
I just take them out every morning and put them around the plants, whatever it is that I've used.
And you feel like that really, really, really helps. See, also too, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this, is gardening, because I just do not have a green thumb, but one of these days we are going to get a gardening expert on here. I heard too that you should test your soil, not in a potted plant so much, but in the garden. Like if you have a garden or a flower bed, or even like my azalea bushes, test your soil first, because in some instances it might be a high acidity, where coffee grinds have a high acidity. Obviously, we know that about our body. To test the soil first, but it's also good for bushes and shrubs and things like that. So there's so many things. Again, we're meeting people at that midline of what are you willing to do, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of people willing to do one or two things, but the other things, I always want to do what Gordon Ramsay tells you to do. Like when you're chopping up your vegetables, to keep all your vegetables and then put them in a zip bag and then make vegetable stock with it. I really would love.
Someday you'll get to that. That'll be a goal. It should be on your bucket list.
I'll do that in the winter time when like squash and pumpkin and all those root vegetables are this. Well, if I use them for pureed soup, and then if I have like the tip of the carrot that you cut off for the root, save those in a little Ziploc, stick them in the freezer, and then when it gets full, and like potato skin peels, instead of throwing out, I put that in the bag, and then once the bag is full of like a lot of root vegetables that it's not what I'm gonna eat, then I just boil them down, and then I can make like a broth out of it.
Yeah, really good. That is one of my goals.
That's one of your green bucket list. We should all make a green bucket list.
I mean, I think I do pretty good
on here. One of our most valuable watchers and listeners, Miss Joan, did not know that she has to recycle. She recycles her pizza box. So now Joan is going to go ahead and be a great steward that I know she is, lovely person, and she's going to go ahead and she's never going to recycle her pizza box. And I'm sure that Joan does other things to kind of counterbalance it. Like we all, again, busy, family, house, nobody's perfect. We're all human beings. Like I said, I'm a straw girl. I'm not going to ever, I know that it's supposed to make those little lines. I don't care. I don't have a wrinkle on my face. I'm going to use a straw. So this is what I decided to do, because number one, it's really annoying when you run out of them. So now I always have one, and I'm not buying the box. It's not only the straw, it comes in the box. I mean, it's, again, how far do you want to go? Am I going to use these to put my pasta sauce in? Probably not. But there's some people that are going to do that. I'm going to totally check out the beeswax, because I've been looking at those for a while. And Kathy, thank you. You reminded me. And also, Kathy, when we're done here, I really, really like you, if you could, give us all your tips, your YouTube channel, give us some of your recipes and all of that good stuff, so that our people can benefit from your wisdom. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, if you like using Swiffer dusters,
Okay.
Instead of those throwaway dusters, there's a girl that makes in Pennsylvania called Growing Green Minds, and she has an Etsy shop, and they're a cloth, and she makes them custom fit to the Swiffer.
No way.
This is what I use in my cleaning business. I have like 6 of these. And you
Please
could
share that. Please share that website.
Growing Green Minds.
Growing Green Minds. I love that idea because we're using those Swiffer mop. You know, whenever you can, I love a good Swiffer, you know, the mop for the floor. You can wash that mop pad. That you could probably wash in the washing machine, correct? You could just, yeah, exactly. So we all love our convenience. I'm sorry, but not everybody wants to get down on their hands and knees and scrub the floor. I do it. I've done it. I'm not afraid to do it. I love to clean. I love a clean house. Not everybody has the time nor the inclination or wants to. And we want the convenience of that Swiffer. Try to use products that have a washable mop head. And like you said, I did not know that you could make a Swiffer reusable thing. I think that that's really brilliant. That's awesome. That's like kind of, you can take your green game to another level.
Yeah.
I like the idea. Take your green game to the next level.
And we will, because believe it or not, ladies, we've been talking for an hour, so we are all out of time. Kathy, could you tell people how they can reach you, because you professionally clean houses? What's your business and how do they reach you?
My Facebook page, Crunchy Cleaning by Kathy. I have a website, crunchycleaningbyKathy.com. I have a YouTube channel, Crunchy Cleaning by Kathy, where I share a lot of eco-oily cleaning tips so your house can be crunchy-fied clean. And I have an Instagram, Crunchy Cleaning by Kathy. And you can text me, which is always the quickest, at 570-807-0999.
I am so going to Instagram friend you, whatever it is that you do. Friend, I think we friend on Instagram.
Follow.
Are you on the Twitter, or do you tweet? Do you tweet cleaning tips?
I should, but I really
You should. I love it. You know what? There's no bad connotation to that crunchy cleaning. I love it. I love all your tips. I'm gonna do some of the things you told me. I'll probably be bothering you too. I'll probably gonna private message you and ask you all different kinds of things. I think it's great. Thank you so much. Everybody that watched tonight, thank you so much. Again, if you want to still throw up what you do to stay green, we want to hear it, because it's not just about us ladies up here yakking our traps. We want to hear about what you have something to say. We know we have a lot to say always, but we want to hear from you. So thanks you guys on the Facebook land for watching us tonight. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you always.
And we want to make sure we thank our sponsors, brokersrealty.com. They bring us to you every week. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this and share all this fun talk with you guys. If you need to buy, sell, rent, or auction off a piece of property, check out brokersrealty.com. There's an office right here in Stroudsburg. And believe it or not, I believe they can cover many states. So it's not just the Poconos. If you are anywhere in Pennsylvania, I believe also, what other states, Sarah?
They're in Maryland, New York, Georgia, and I think they're headed towards Florida.
There we go.
Awesome.
There's a lot of resources there. If you're moving, selling a house, relocating, check out brokersrealty.com. We will be back next Tuesday night. Our topic next week is me time. We're going to talk about relaxation and taking time for ourselves as moms and parents.
Is cleaning including in that? Can we take time?
You know,
can we do some Zen cleaning? We're going to do some green cleaning alone time. I kind of like that. I know. I'm a sicko. I'm a weirdo. I know. Some satisfaction in that.
Whatever.
Thank you, Kathy. It was so nice to meet you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Holly.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.